Welcome everyone to our now weekly live edition of Stack Your Live. We'll call it Stack Your Live for now. We're gonna test names and workshop names. I'm here with RJ from Do You Take Cards. RJ, how are you today?
I'm good. I've actually started to really look forward to doing the lives. They're fun. We get some different questions in the lives than we do for like the weekly Stack Your Points listener questions. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of back and forth, which makes it a lot of fun.
Yes. For those wondering tonight, no, I am not drinking dough ball, but I have found this lovely maple cream that is fantastic. And it is blueberry flavored, so that is also fantastic. Tastes just like a pancake.
That, like, if you're gonna drink something that's sweet, a blueberry pancake does sound pretty good.
It does, which now makes me wonder what that Eggo waffle nonsense tastes like.
So I don't really drink anymore. When I did, I was a big fan of weird flavored dark beer. So like if you could get
Okay.
me a porter that tasted like a s'more, I would drink it, or I would at least
Yep.
try it, right? Like you give me a double dark chocolate cake explosion as like a stout, that was my jam. So I enjoy the weirder side of some alcoholic beverages from time to time.
Peanut butter porter.
Peanut butter porter was always good. Peanut butter porter is like the most normal of the weird flavors.
That's
It
fair.
is. I feel like peanut butter, because it is so common, it just doesn't register for most people as a flavoring the way that like s'mores would.
Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. We got Double joining us for a little bit. He's on dad duty tonight, so he'll only be here for a bit. Yep, I was on dad duty all day yesterday. It was fun. Peanut butter stout is amazing. Can confirm. I miss it terribly.
Left hand makes awesome stouts in general.
Mother's milk.
Yeah, I'm going to Colorado in October. So we'll see, because it's not like I'm not drinking out of necessarily choice. It does not work well with a couple of the medications I take, not in like a dangerous way, but just in I get like super bad heartburn and stuff. So it's just easier. It's not like a, problematic thing. So we'll see in October if I'm just like, you know what, it is worth the slight feeling of death to try something directly from the motherland.
Yep, mother's milk. I feel like they also make one that's called Dragon's Teeth or something like that from Left Hand, but Left Hand's really good. Also out in Colorado, Breckenridge and their vanilla porter. That is fantastic. Double. Not sure I know this. What are your ideal next cards, Matt? Non-existent cards don't count. Oh.
So here's my weird place that I'm in, right? Like I have all of my bases covered, right? Like I have food and gas and grocery. I don't use a gas powered car, but occasionally I'll use another car, somebody else's car that has gas or whatever. I have my core categories situated. So like I'm in a weird place of like, I want the IHG card because I'm assuming that IHG is going to work the way that I think it will. So it'll be like Hilton as my top option, and then IHG Choice, sort of depending on what options are there for both. Choice might drop out, might not. But like, I want the IHG card in preparation for that. But after that, or if for some reason IHG doesn't work out, I don't really have like another major card. I might try in 6 to 9 months, depending on what else is going on, for like the Wells Fargo autograph card, because it could do some fun things. But I also would just put the points into Choice right now with their partners. So I don't even know if that actually makes sense logistically once I, sit down and do all of that. So I don't really have a card until somebody refreshes something or something else happens that I really super want. It's kind of a weird, I'm in a weird place right now.
That is totally fair. I I'm torn. Yes, I am waiting with bated breath for Autograph Beyond because I want to see what it is. It's going to be a shiny, and I'm going to want it. But I also need to know what Wells Fargo is doing in terms of transfer partners. So aside from a card that doesn't exist, I think the next best card would be something like the AAA Daily Advantage for me. And maybe parse that around family because it does get 5x on groceries up to 10,000 and spend, 5% on groceries up to 10,000 and spend, and Walmart actually codes as groceries. So that card could be super useful for all of the Walmart purchasing done in both households that I live in. So that could be a play that I make. I'm looking for a warehouse specific card though. There really aren't any good ones that are available in New York because the best one that I know of is the Huntington Voice Rewards card, and you can just pick warehouse as a category, but the personal card you can only do up to like it's something not minuscule, but it's like up to 12,000 and spend a year. I think it's only up to $1,000 a month, but I could be wrong on that.
Are you like a use different warehouses guy, or are you like, because there is a BJ's card that's not terrible. It is cash back, which is not my preferred, but like it's not terrible. I just use the when we go there and I'm the one paying, I just use the Blue Business Plus just because it's I'm not going to really have to worry about returns, right? It's not really a store that you're doing a lot of returns back to.
Right.
So I just use that to get 2x and then sort of don't worry about it. But we also only use that like once a quarter to like stock up on the things you can stock up there. We're not using it sort of in bulk.
So BJ's card would make a lot of sense. We have a BJ's near. So, and here's the thing with like being sort of transient in the way that I'm transient. In my, how do I Casey list this? In my housey house, BJ's would make a lot of sense. In my other house where my family I've chose lives, they would be splitting like BJ's and Sam's Club. So I don't even know that a warehouse category would be
why not just get like a 2x and just go like, I understand you're leaving some points on the table, but the difference in what you guys spend in warehouses at 2x versus 3x is probably not gonna like, you're not kid, right? Like you're not putting 40 grand plus through these cards for food. You probably could do a 2x, like give them a double cash and let go.
Yeah, there's a double cash in that house. I have an active cash. That probably makes the most sense, but
Keith is already threatening in the Discord to ask Star Trek questions. So I appreciate you, Keith.
Keith, if you're on board right now, you may as well get them in now, just in case, because we may or may not have Tariq. Or we also have something fun planned for next week. In that vein, Jordan rolls a credit. Hey, Jordan, fiance is watching Real Housewives, so I'm locked in with noise canceling headphones for this one. We appreciate it. I am so sorry that you're being subjected to Real Housewives. I
want to know which Real Housewives it is, because that does make a difference in the quality, because Jennifer Tilly is on one and I will watch anything that Jennifer Tilly does, because like when you get divorced and get Simpsons money and then have Chucky money to buy snacks and that's how you refer it as, I find that amusing.
To each their own. I'm not a big reality TV person. I feel that reality TV has helped lead to the lovely timeline that we're living in.
I mean, yes, but like I can't change the timeline. I can laugh at Jennifer Tilly, or with Jennifer Tilly, I should say.
That's fair. Jason mentions, "Oh God, not a Casey List reference." I'm sorry.
Look, I listened to not a tech podcast or accidental tech podcast, good Lord, today at work while I was working. So like I have their voices in my head right now.
That's fair. Keep it simple. Hey guys. Hey, keep it simple.
Please answer if Wells Fargo cards are churnable, Matt, because I can't stop laughing to answer.
Not to my knowledge. They don't have lifetime language, if that's what you're asking. Uh, if you were to do it, I would go 24 months. Um, but I'm not aware of anything preventing churning. If you're willing to open a new card every 2 years, go for it. It's just the welcome offers are so small on their cashback cards and on their cards in general. Like 200 for the autograph, 200 for the active cash, 100 plus a $50 donation for the attune. I don't know that it's really worth it, but you do you. Signify Dugras was the data point that I wanted to be in the world, and he tried to apply with the same setup, like EIN and all of that. And because he already had an account with an EIN, he got denied for a second Signify with that EIN. So it is out there. If you could do Social Security and EIN, it's out there. If you spun up another EIN, if that would work to churn Signifies, that might be the only play. I don't know. But
I also
again,
want to caution you, like creating an EIN is like free in the sense that like they don't charge you for it, but like you also have to like know what you're doing with EINs and business cards in general and churning cards. Like
yes.
we talk about it, and I mean we, like the credit card community, we talk about business cards kind of casually, but like they are different cards than personal cards. And yes, this is like the hill I'm going to die on because somebody's got to. But like, and I have business cards. I just got the business green for a 25,000 point sub. It will be my infinite shame that I possess this card and will for 366 days. But like, you have to know what you're doing when it comes to business cards because they are not like just cards with higher subs. There is actual like legal language in them that is different than personal cards.
I mean, let's be honest. You did it for the 56,000 Hilton points.
Probably, though I might top up for Delta because I have that IHG cert that I need to use. So I might be using it for Delta top up at Delta flight to use that. So
nope, that's fair. M2K checking in with a hey all. Hey M2K, keep it simple. Howdy. Sid M, I got a 25K $6,000 Blue Business Plus mailer. Not terrible, but yeah, I'd rather that was 25K on 4 or 5 spend, but
they're
6K
doing
spend.
They're doing the employee cards at 4,000, so they can't.
Yeah. No, they can't. I know. If wishes were horses, we'd all eat hay. I know. Wow. I just said that.
You did say that, and it's recorded on the internet forever.
But to be fair, your 25K on 6,000 spend ends up being 37,000 points at the end of the day. So there is that.
Yeah.
Jason Smith, Star Trek, the original series, season 3, worth watching. I mean, there's a couple of duds in there. There's like this backdoor pilot for some stupid show that was going to be called like Agent Earth or something like that, or Agent 7. That's not necessarily that episode's not necessarily worth watching, but
Gary 7. But how can you watch the Picard episode where they reference that episode without also having watched that episode, Matt? Like, you have to. I have not seen it. See, I have seen select episodes of the original series, like the good ones. I have not seen, I will admit, I have not seen the entirety of the original series because my tolerance for 1960s and 70s, like hokey sci-fi, is lower than it probably should be. My stepdad is a huge Doctor Who fan, and his favorite Doctor Who's are the like kitschy 60s, 70s, like, you know, guy in robotic arms stuff. And I appreciate that for what it was, but I my tolerance for it is not as high as I would like.
So what you're saying is Argyle's scarves are not your jam.
Not entirely, no.
Yeah. TOS season 3. If you're going to go down the completionist route, watch it. Can't can't remember any specific episodes from season 3 aside from like Gary 7 or Agent Earth or whatever the hell it was. I want to say Games of Triskelion is season 3, and that's a pretty good episode. But
Assignment Earth.
Assignment Earth, that's what it was. Yeah, it was a backdoor pilot. It's meh. Oh, Josh in the chat has mentioned a couple episodes. Yeah, I do think I'd watch it. I mean, what else are you going to watch on Paramount these days?
It's true.
Yeah. Watch DS9 for the 8th time? Come on. E&M mentions the Venmo credit card for 3% at wholesale. Did not know that. Good to know.
But then you have to have the Venmo credit card.
Well, you know. Josh chimes in with a good evening and
Can only do that on one hand.
So you got that one. Hold on. You got that one.
I can't do it on the, like, my right hand is like, no, my left hand is the only one that will properly greet.
There we go. Jordan mentions that it's Beverly Hills Reunion. It's Hell on Earth. Sorry, we're here. We'll keep you entertained for a little bit, hopefully, if you're still here. Double animal fries you probably have already discussed, but thoughts on reward debit cards in general? Friend?
I am a fan of this for the general population, because here's the thing. A lot of people don't actually like credit cards, or a lot of people aren't necessarily literate in credit cards in a way that they want to explore. So if they can get some amount of rewards for debit cards, I think that's great. Like, I have friends and family who have either been in high levels of credit card debt or have known people who have and don't want anything to do with credit cards. They like the stuff I do. They understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and that I'm financially literate enough not to, like, get myself again into crippling credit card debt. I was in my early 20s. It's why I am so adamant about certain things now. But for those people, things like yes, I know it's not a good redemption, but 0.5 point per dollar for the Amex debit card, like, that actually could be an option for certain people. And there are some people who like to use debit cards for certain transactions. They feel better about it. Whether it's the best option or not is a different story, but everybody has different tolerances for what they want to do for certain things. I think if banks can put reasonable rewards on debit cards, I think it's a really strong play for people, or, people who don't have very good credit, gives them another option. So I think I am higher on it than Matt because of just life experience and the experience I have had with friends and family particularly. And Matt is a bigger fan of cashing out points than I am for same reasons. So everybody's different, guys. We're all unique.
Yeah. I also prefer, like, the purchase protections available to you on credit cards. Debit cards, if God forbid something happens with your debit card, you have virtually no recourse. Not saying you have absolutely no recourse, but you have a lot less recourse than something happening. Now, I haven't had money stolen from me via my debit card. Like, I've done stupid things with money. I've done stupid things with debit cards, but, like, just in the worst case scenarios, credit cards will offer you more protections.
Yes. Non-business credit cards will offer you more protections. Again,
personal credit cards will offer you more protections. Yes.
I'm going to get a t-shirt made. And look, again, I have business credit cards. I understand I am part of the problem, but you can only call it out if you're inside the problem. That's my logic.
Yes. Jose Marzon asks, whatever happened to Sister Meg Tilly?
I have no
Meg
idea.
Tilly.
Mm-hmm. There's Google for that.
Sorry. Double. I'm waiting for Matt to turn 5 Signify cards. If I could, I would, but 5,000 spend, $500 or 50,000 points back, which is nice. Plus, like, the additional 10,000 points from the 5,000 spend. I don't know that I'd want to turn 5 of them, and I could open one for the pod. I could open one with my social security number. Do I really want to go through the process of doing that and spending $10,000? I don't know. Probably not right now. Josh says that all Trek is worth watching, though you might suffer a bit. This is very true. You got to go through Space Irish, and you got to go through some really bad TNG episodes to get through things. There's some not great. A lot of season 1 of DS9 is trying to figure itself out.
Voyager has some not great episodes, most of the ones featuring Neelix, to be honest. Though I would rather watch any episode of Star Trek ever versus a single episode of Real Housewives Beverly Hills Reunion. So I guess Josh is correct there.
There you go. He mentioned Spock's Brain, season 3, episode 1. That is a good episode. Let This Be Your Last Battlefield. Josh, is that the one where you have the 2 aliens from the same planet, but one has black on like the left side of his face and white on the right, and the other has white on the left side of his face and black on his right, and they've been chasing each other for thousands of years, and their planet just blew up from a massive civil war? I don't watch a lot of Star Trek, no. I feel like it's that episode.
The black and white dudes, but opposite, yeah.
Wow, I nailed it.
You did.
Sweet. See, I don't get all the Alice in Wonderland references, but I can nail the crap out of that one. All right, anyway, Keith asks, who's the most underrated and underappreciated character in Star Trek? The entire series. So you mean all Star Treks everywhere?
Every character Majel Barrett has ever played, because she is Mrs. Star Trek.
She is. Nurse
She's
Chapel.
The voice of the computer in all of them. They even put her voice in Picard after she passed away, which made me a little emotional.
Yes.
When they walk onto the bridge in the final, when they go back to their old bridge, that is her voice on the computer, because they took recordings.
Yep.
And they redid them, and I will admit I got a little teary when they had her voice come up for that, because she had passed away.
So she's the voice of the computer. I know she's the voice of the computer in TNG, DS9, and Voyager. Mm-hmm. Don't know if she's the voice of the computer in Enterprise. That's around the time she passes away. I don't know if she's on Enterprise. She is not the voice of the computer in Disco. She is not the voice of the computer in TOS, because she's Nurse Chapel in TOS. She's Loxana Troy in TNG and DS9. Does she make a Voyager appearance?
I don't know if she makes a Voyager appearance. Hold on. I'm Googling.
Real-time follow-up. Most underrated, underappreciated character in Star Trek. There's a big part of me that wants to go with Miles O'Brien, just because he stays an enlisted man. He fought in the Cardassian Wars, was like really hardened in those. Doesn't talk about it in TNG because it gets retconned.
Real-time follow-up. She was the voice of the computer on Enterprise for 2 episodes. My guess is because she could not continue to be the voice. She did 115 episodes of Voyager. So all of them. She did 33 episodes of DS9 as the computer. She was on Spider-Man the Animated Series.
Nice.
Babylon 5, like, so she's done some. She was on 22 episodes of the animated series. So Mrs.
That
Star
tracks.
Trek. Literally, she was married to Gene Roddenberry, which is
Roddenberry.
why I'm calling her Mrs. Star Trek. So it's not just like a thing. It's like they were married.
Yes. O'Brien, I feel, is underrated, underappreciated, but like.
Okay, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is Star Trek so bad at ranks? Because they are. Like, some have enlisted ranks, some series don't have enlisted ranks. There's never continuity between, like, if there are enlisted, if there's not enlisted. Like, there's no enlisted on Voyager at all.
O'Brien is literally the only enlisted character I know.
There are a couple more in, like, the background of some things. Like, you'll see a different insignia, and it's not the provisional one they use in Enterprise, or not Enterprise, Voyager. There are some people on Enterprise with enlisted insignia, because that was sort of before Starfleet, like, the way we know it. But you would think, like, the Navy, which is what this is all based off of, has a pretty like solid rank structure and has for a really long time. And they just like it's so bad. As like a military history nerd, like it's so bad and it hurts me a little bit.
I don't know. It is space socialist utopia.
I know.
With
Again, it
war.
is not a huge deal, but it
Yeah.
also like I see it. And then like sometimes Tom Paris will just be missing a pip and you're like, "Oh, so he went to the brig and they just didn't put it on screen because it was the 7th time this episode."
He was cosplaying as Nick that day.
Yeah.
Ian mentions reward debit card. March was my first month using one. $870 cash back. It's a key part of my playbook now. Interesting.
How?
I can explain later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rodrigo Mendoza, in your guys' opinion, what would a bad Wells Fargo Journey Beyond card look like? What would a good version look like? RJ, I'll let you take a crack at this one first.
I think honestly a key factor, and Matt and I have talked about this both on the podcast and off the podcast. I think a key factor to the Journey Beyond, the Autograph Beyond, whatever they call this card, is transfer partners. Because if they don't have partners that you want to transfer to, they're not going to make the card worth it for most people. Like a lot of people don't like using portals, and it's not just my like anti-portal bias, right? Like a lot of people want transferable currency that they can put exactly where they are, so they can book directly, so they get their rewards points, they get their, like Delta has the miles per dollar, all of that to get status, right? So people like booking directly for status reasons. And if the partners they have now are the partners they have when a multi-$100 card drops, I think it's a bad card because you can't do as much with it. So that to me is a factor in all of this. I think it has to be better than the Cap 1 Venture X. And what I mean by that is one of the problems with the Venture X is it's a 2X card, so there's nowhere to go on the higher end. The Venture
Right.
X is their flagship card, and it's just 2X everything, which is great. Like in some ways, it's a really great catch-all. But the problem is like there's no elevated earnings on that card. Yes, I know there's portal stuff, but in general, right? There's no upper end earnings. I don't know if they can go as flagshipy as the Sapphire Reserve or the Platinum right out of the gate, unless they get an American Airlines, a Hyatt, even like a Marriott, a Hilton. Like they've got to get somebody that the general public of credit card or people like. And another strategy is they have to get people like, if YouTube pans this card, like if the community pans this card,
Yep.
like, and the first thing you find when you search this card after it drops is 15 videos of why it's trash. Like that's a nightmare for Wells Fargo because go on, Matt.
I was just gonna say my thumbnail just being this.
Yeah, like if Matt's thumbnail is disappointment and everybody else is making videos of why this card is bad, like just a regular person searching YouTube for that is going to have a problem. Now, Amex is big enough that when the gold had the I'm going to cancel my gold and everybody was freaking out, like Amex was fine, right? Like Amex knew they were going to lose a certain percentage because of that, because it's a mature card, right? The card has been around forever. There are people like family members of mine that will have that card until the day they die, just because that is their card. They do not have 17 credit cards. They're not switching cards, right? Like, so Amex knew, but launching a new card, you can't have that kind of press if you're Wells Fargo. So it has to land with the general population and it has to land with credit card YouTube or the media side of things. If people get on MSNBC and say, hey, Wells Fargo launched this card and it's terrible, like Wells Fargo CEO needs to be like updating the resume, right? So it becomes this thing of like, what does a good card look like? It looks like a card with transfer partners people want to use. And like, I like Choice. I use them. I'm staying at a Choice this weekend. But like, Choice can't be your premier partner. And I get it, for international travel, they have some really good options. But most people, especially right now, are not looking to book a lot of international travel. So I don't necessarily think there's a ton they need to do on the card side. I actually think it's sort of the entire ecosystem of Wells Fargo. I don't know if they could support a major card right now.
I hear you there.
I would be happy. Like, it would be interesting if they got Marriott, right? Because Marriott, I understand there's contracts, like they can't just pick up Marriott right now. But if they could take Marriott away from Chase and Amex, because like the Chase Amex thing cannot go on forever, right? Like
No.
eventually, like something's going to change. They're going to consolidate to one. But if they could get like Marriott and Marriott fixes their program, that could be a huge thing. That could be a huge get for Wells Fargo. Because not only are you taking Marriott's option away from your competitors, like you're the one who has it. And exclusive partners are a driver for people getting into ecosystems.
See Chase and Hyatt.
Chase and Hyatt.
See American Express and Delta.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in my opinion, they do need to pick up some extra transfer partners. I'm lamenting the fact, it's not a fact, but I'm lamenting the idea that the 1 point to 1 point transfer that is like a really cool hook is not resonating with potential transfer partners. I do think if they have to change that, make that change. Things I'd like to see on this card, it's going to be if it's going to be a Premier Travel card, it's going to have the basic Premier Travel card things, really good travel insurance. Don't know if it'll be Chase level travel insurance, but like as long as you're in that conversation, and the autograph journey has pretty good travel insurance. It's not the best, it's not like terrible, but it's in that conversation. Really good travel insurance. It's gonna have Priority Pass. Getting Priority Pass restaurant would make a lot of sense for introing into getting that crowd. Getting a widely available card out there that has Priority Pass restaurant would be a huge win for it. Benefits wise, a flexible travel credit that is equal to Chase would go a long way, especially as we see the Sapphire Reserve. If the Sapphire Reserve does something like it bumps the travel credit up to $400, but it either puts it in $100 increments in the portal, which would suck, or does it in $100 increments quarterly, which would also suck.
Here's my question. Would it, like, I understand it is different than it is now, right? But if you have a premium travel card, is not the idea that you premiumly travel with it? Like, why is it? I understand it is right. I understand it's a change. And yes, I am coming from the Amex ecosystem, but I'm also somebody who is not afraid to not use a credit that does not serve me, right? But like, if you have a premium card and they want you to swipe that card, like putting it at $400 and giving you $100 a quarter, like that to me makes pretty good sense. Like I would not be mad about that if I had that card.
To an extent, however, the first, like that statement credit as currently presented doesn't give you points on the first $300.
You're still getting free $300 of travel.
Yeah, but now you're not getting points. It would just be a nuisance. Like I'm sure people would adapt. I'm not saying people would cancel the card outright because it's a quarter. It would become a quarterly $400, quarterly $100 credit for $400. I just think like Chase has a really good thing there. Messing with it would be dumb, but
messing with it would be unfortunate for the people who like it. It would not necessarily be dumb. Like,
my opinion, it would be dumb.
I agree that it would be more inconvenient for users. I'm not arguing that, and I'm not even arguing that it should go to $100 a quarter. But Chase seems to want people to actually use their cards because people seem to want to collect credit cards and then not use them, which is one of my pet peeves. It makes sense. Like it to me, if you have a card like that, like I have a platinum, I use it for airlines. Like I'm using it as intended. Like I am not part of the problem in that regard, right? Like I don't have a platinum just to have it sit there. I have a platinum that I use. Like it
Yeah.
feels like if you have a Sapphire Reserve and they say, here's $400, which is $100 more than you get now. You just have to use it literally 4 times a year. Like if they put it in the portal, I agree that's dumb because that's limiting how you can use your card. But if they're
Yes.
telling you just have to use it 4 times a year for 4 hotel stays or whatever, like, okay.
I blow past the credit every year when the credit reinstates, like, and I pay for a good chunk of travel in cash. So like, to me, it would be penalizing me for using the card the way it was intended, because I'm one of those people. Now, I'm not saying that everybody uses the card as intended.
But
I'll
they're
grant that.
intending it differently. Like they
Yeah.
get to decide how this card is intended to be used.
Yeah.
And they can change it.
Yes. Yes. But we have flung into yet another rabbit hole with Chase. Going back to Wells Fargo.
Us? Rabbit holes?
No, of course. Going back to Wells Fargo, I would love to see Priority Pass restaurants, just to be a differentiation, just to give people something to differentiate about. Earnings, like, Wells Fargo's a good earning ecosystem as is. Like, I don't know what else. Like, it would be weird to put grocery on this card. Like, you could rearrange something on the autograph to put grocery on the autograph to then move something to this card, maybe. I personally just think mobile wallet.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point, is 2 words: mobile wallet.
Yeah. Don't have to redeem in the travel portal, but if you could do some sort of elevated redemption with the mobile wallet, it worked for US Bank. Everybody loves the US Bank Altitude Reserve. Those who can still get it, or via product change, if you can still get it via product change, folks love that card for that reason. Wells has plenty to copy from to make a good card. A bad card would just be straight up Priority Pass, no restaurant, no redeeming credits, no good credits to redeem, and they still end up with the transfer partners that they have. I think they just can't release something blah into static. Now, I don't know how you improve on 5x hotels, 4x flights at a higher annual fee.
Do you think that card gets... Can you see a world where that card gets a little nerfed for the Beyond?
The Journey, they're at about a year now.
If they went to 4 and 4, right? 4x flights, 4x hotels, and they did something with 5x on the Beyond.
If Beyond was 5 and 5 for 450, I think you could do pretty well there. I think. Be curious to see what the rest of the card looks like, but I don't know how high. Well, Amex Platinum's 5 and 5, but that second 5 is in their portal, so a straight 5 and 5 hasn't been done before. So it'd be interesting to see what would happen.
I mean, they have to do some, like, it's not when Chase and Amex come out with a new card, and they refresh cards more than they come out with new cards, but like, they have such a huge pool of users and people are paying attention to them. Like, they can be somewhat stagnant and it's okay in the sense of like, it's not going to hurt their numbers. I don't think Wells Fargo has that luxury. Like, they're going to need to do something that gets people's attention, that makes them want to sign up. And they're not the biggest sign up bonus company. Like, big sign up bonuses are not their thing. So I'm really interested to see if they do something where it's 5 and 5, or just 5x travel in general, and give it a little bit of a higher annual fee, and really sort of make it a card where people really want this card. Because I think if they do it that way, even if they only add a couple of partners that maybe aren't the highest sought after, if it is an insanely earner card, like, there are plays you can get points from, one other program into like Hilton or whatever. There are ways to do that. So it is possible. People do it all the time.
5x travel in transit, something, 1x everywhere else, some sorts of credit. Yeah, it could work.
I mean, if they did 1.5 mobile wallet on that, like 5x travel in transit,
1.5
1.5 mobile wallet, 1x everything else, throw in some credits, a little bit of status, maybe a travel credit to really like
Yeah.
give it a go. Like you could do 550 for a card like that, assuming they add one or two like decent partners.
Yeah. Dear Wells Fargo, add Amtrak as a transfer partner.
That would be great.
M2K, what setup do you think can earn maximum Hilton points benefits, such as free night certificates on 40 to 50K of annual spend?
Aspire.
Surpass and Aspire, yeah. 40, you could come right in the middle, 45K, put 15 through the Surpass, and you're going to have to put 30 through the Aspire, but if you don't
But
care.
you get one with the Aspire already. So
every year, yeah. So you're spending for that second one. Yep. Yeah, you could earn 2 every year that way.
So that would be a 3-day week. That would be a 3-day right there, because you'd get the one automatically. You'd get the one for 15 on the Surpass. You'd get the one for 30 on the Aspire. You'd get diamond status, so you're earning extra points for those cash days.
Yep. And those certs would start at standard rooms, but could become real nice rooms real quickly.
Yeah.
So 40 to 50K, if you're willing to do 2 cards, Surpass plus Aspire. If you really want a 1 card setup, Aspire gets you 2 certs with at least 30K in spend. So a couple different options there. Sid M asks, I've listened here and there on the show on the cautions of having biz cards for your biz. Do you have an episode that emphasizes the cautions and do's and don'ts of business cards? We do have a business card episode.
I believe it's actually called something business card.
Like
I think
I
think it literally is the business card episode. Yeah.
It's relatively early on. I want to say it was recorded in late August, early September.
That sounds right. Tariq is wearing a suit to start, and it slowly, progressively looks like he's losing hope in humanity.
Oh, aren't we all?
I mean, I'm looking up the episode now, so bear with me.
Yep. Josh mentions black and white dudes, but opposite. Yep, that's the Let This Be Your Last Battlefield. Yeah, he followed up with that. Keith mentions that he hates Neelix almost as much as Built. I don't know who that's more unfair for. Built or Neelix? Doesn't matter.
I don't know. Neelix is also terrible, so there is that. Neelix is my probably least favorite character. So,
who's worse, Neelix or Phlox?
Oh, I like Phlox. I think that's actually a really interesting society. If everybody has three partners, and your partners have 3 partners, I think that's I think that was at least different, right? Like that at least was a different version.
Fair.
It's literally called Business Credit Cards. And it was published on September 30th of 24.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also, I just realized that the Q&A for tomorrow apparently abandoned the upload, so I got to fix that. So I'm really glad that I checked the thing. I don't know why. It said it was all set when I uploaded it, so that's fun.
Oops. All right. Well, while RJ fixes that, we have a couple comments from Josh. O'Brien suffers the most. Yeah, he does. There's this one episode of DS9 where he is put through like something like 20 years through a mind prison. But in reality, he's only aged like it was only like 2 months. It's insane. That episode was rough. O'Brien's engineering crew is mostly unlisted men. Interesting. Oh, then there's a whole like distinction between. Anyway, before we lose everyone, unlisted men and women. There we go. Keith, it would be amazing if I could make Major Barrett's voice the voice of my Siri. Yes.
I would love that.
Somebody contact the Roddenberry estate, please. Sid M, also as someone who is an American Airlines loyalist and gets a decent amount of points a year, I hope American Airlines continues to be on their own island. I don't want a city transfer. I completely understand the stake. I don't love I can at least appreciate that Citi is making moves to make the transfer partnership more desirable to American Airlines. I think right now American Airlines wants nothing to do with it and is kind of strong arming Citi into some of these moves. Like you can't product change between all families. I think that's specifically United. I think that's specifically American Airlines doing that. Because American Airlines sees how many red aviators are about to become custom caches, and they don't
Yeah.
want that.
I think I think Citi needs to handle the American Airlines car like, they need to take a year once everybody comes over and
Mhm.
sort out an actual American Airlines, like, hierarchy the way that Delta does, the way that United does, make, 3 to 5 cards that make sense in a lineup, and then worry about getting AA as a transfer partner. I don't think they can do it at the same time, and I think it makes more sense to get that sorted before worrying about any sort of transfer partner.
Yeah. No, that makes absolute sense because you've got the Halo card, the 525, sorry, 595 Advantage Executive World Elite Mastercard. You've got the Platinum Select at 99 and the Red Aviator at 99. Then the Aviator Silver. Somebody correct me who has an Aviator Silver. Jason, if you're still with us, I know I annoyed with the Casey List bit, but if you're still with us, what is the annual fee on the Aviator Silver? I want to say it's $199. Because it seems like the structure right now is $600 card of some sort, $350 card of some sort, $150 card, and then a no annual fee card. So they've got the Mile Up card, which isn't a particularly good card. You've got the Red Aviator and the Platinum Select. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with those cards. Because the Barclays cards are also dog earners. They are not particularly good earning cards. And that's for an airline credit card. So yeah, I could see them taking a year, refreshing the lineups, setting those ducks in some sort of row, and then maybe 2027 at the earliest for a transfer partnership. But
$199 for the Aviator Silver.
hey, look at that! I know what I'm talking about.
Occasionally,
from time to time, yes. Yeah, it's. I could see them doing like Halo card, 350 card, maybe rename the Aviator Silver, bump it up to 350, make it somewhat interesting and more loyalty points and an accelerated loyalty point earner. But yeah, what's been happening, like what we've noticed in the Discord is there's sort of if you want American Airlines points to remain as valuable as they are, Citi has to give up a lot of points to transfer over. Like I've
5 to
been
1.
seeing folks saying like 4 or 5 to 1. If you want to do a 1 to 1, like American Airlines is going to like just slash and burn most of the value of their points.
I think the problem though is like American Airline is going to devalue points regardless.
Yeah.
Like over time, the points are going to get devalued regardless. All your like this is cynical, but like all you're doing by not having them be a partner with Citi is just like when that happens, you don't also have another way to get points into the system.
Yeah.
If it's done in a way that, it's 5 to 1, that at least gives you a second road into AA points.
Yeah. Because like right now, Hyatt can transfer over to American at like 5 to 2. But do you really want to use your Chase points to transfer over to Hyatt, or use your Bilt points to transfer over to Hyatt and then transfer those over to American Airlines? No.
No, nobody wants that.
Yeah, but I think regardless, American is going to do the devaluation that they've been holding off on, like right after becoming a transfer partner or getting all their ducks in. They're going to do it at some point. It's just going to be a question of how drastic do they go.
Because I understand, again, I'm being cynical, but like if you're American Airlines and you look at the United program, you look at the Delta program, like you kind of almost want that, like not in the sense of like, some of the issues, but like you look at their programs and like, we could get people to do a lot more of X, Y, and Z if we wanted to. Like that is from a business standpoint, that is a really attractive thing, right? Like, you know,
Yep.
you have to balance it. You don't want to lose customers to them, but if you boil the frog slowly enough, it doesn't know that it's in the water.
Yes. But Sid, I absolutely get that take. I am torn on it just because on the one hand, it makes 100% sense for that AA loyalists wouldn't want this. On the other hand, like AA going AA. But every company because late stage capitalism is a thing.
To quote our dear co-host Lonnie, like banks are not your friends, airlines are not your friends, hotels are not your friends.
Nope. Keith reminds us that Marriott is never fixing their program to the benefit of their guests. Yeah, well, we know.
Never.
Filmo's World, collecting cards and not using them is my mutant power. We know, that. FOMO. We know.
FOMO, I want you to put in the chat, like, if you're comfortable with it, like, what cards do you have? Because I'm deeply interested. You can put it in the Discord if you'd prefer and tag me. But I really would like to know, like, your full wallet, because I'm sure there are some gems in there.
So many business golds.
So, and Keith, I agree that the no language Aspire and Surpass are great, but like also they don't come around for everybody, and not everybody has your portfolio where they can just get accepted for cards that they want at the drop of a hat. Some of us are mere mortals.
Yeah. The no lifetime language Surpass subs would be super helpful as long as they're no lifetime language with the free night attached. But if your goal is to accumulate as many free nights as possible, 45K and spend with an Aspire in there somewhere would work. Like if you were able to go up to 60 to 70K and spend, the other play would be 2 Aspires and just run at least 30K. If you can
double your yearly spend, a lot of things are possible, Matt. Like, yes. I understand what you're saying, but again, you're asking somebody to double their yearly spend for an extra 1 to 2 free nights in a hotel.
I was just saying if. Not
I understand.
Should you?
My entire role in the credit card community is to remind people how ridiculous we sound when they say, if you could just double your yearly spend, you could totally do this other thing. That is my role in the credit card community.
If you could just double your spend, that would be great.
Yeah. Nice and easy. Just all I got to do is swipe the card.
Yeah.
We're not talking about you paying it off or like paying your mortgage. We're just talking about you spending money on a credit card.
We submit the TPS reports on Thursday now. So if you could go ahead and get your TPS report in on Thursday, that would be great. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to come in on Saturday. Kit Kat double confirmed Filmo is an Omega level mutant. Yep, that's fair. Rodrigo Mendez, Wells should lean into their Wells Fargo Entertainment and offer rewards for entertainment. That would be unique. Wouldn't mind rewards that help against price gouging Ticketmaster. Yeah, that would also be of use. Capital One does something similar with the Saver card. It gets 8%. It gets 8%. What do you call it? In their
points, miles.
Sorry. Capital One Entertainment is 8% on the Saver card. I don't know why that took so long to get out. That doing something like that, Wells Fargo Entertainment getting like 8% on a card would be sweet, especially if you could when you transfer it over to the autograph. And then, Beyonce tickets, as expensive as they are. My best friend just bought tickets to Lady Gaga for $560 a pop.
No. Would not pay.
Yeah.
Tariq will be on in a few. He doesn't want to eat on camera. Thank you, Tariq. I did not need to see that. So I, as your co-host, I appreciate that myself.
Just big sloppy burger.
That'll be for an eventual members only live. Thank you, Trey.
Mm,
We appreciate
oh
you,
boy.
friend.
But yeah, no, Wells leaning into Wells Fargo Entertainment would be good. More entertainment categories out of Wells Fargo would also be solid. Like streaming is one thing. I want to do more. What do you call it? I want to see more entertainment from them. But no, they already did that with the Attune. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I was gonna be like, Wells Fargo probably has this covered better than anybody, like by having the Attune.
Yes.
Oh, just 30 cards, Filmo. Just the 30.
RJ, I'm going to say this now. For Key, those are rookie numbers.
They are.
He's
But
going to need Filmo to pump those numbers up.
Key is playing MLB where the rest of us are playing AA ball when it comes to credit card numbers.
I wish I could play AA ball. I can't. Never. I never could have. Also, I'm in my mid-30s. There's no way the dream died a long time ago. RJ is the credit card community contrarian. Plausible.
I don't know. I'm the realist, maybe.
Keith, 5 Aspires will get you 5 free nights. Yes, okay. Taken to its most logical extreme. This is true.
But also, here's going to be my question on why you want that many free night certificates, right? Like, I get it. Some rooms, you want to do 3 nights at the Waldorf Astoria in DC every year. I get it. But, like, there are ways you can do probably more trips with points than you can with free night certificates. So, there's always that.
Yes.
Yes, Treek, you are off of softball. Is Built gonna screw up May's rent day?
Probably.
Look, Keith, I am challenging you to go 30 days and not think of Built. Every time you think of Built, just put $1 in a jar. And then once the month is done, take that money and go to therapy to break up with Built properly. Because Built is just not for you, friend. I say this with all of the love and respect in my heart. Built is not for you, friend. They are never going to live up to your expectations. They are your toxic ex that you just can't let go of. It's okay. I am giving you permission to just not think of Built anymore.
Now would be a bad time to mention that, like, the attractions portion of the travel portal is gone.
Yeah. Well, and
Lonnie pointed it out to me.
Yeah, Tariq couldn't get into part of the Built app, I think, today. So, like, Built has problems, but Keith being in the Discord, shout out to the Stack Your Points Discord, like, Built's just not for you, friend. Like, it's just not. It's never going to make you happy. If it's never going to make you happy, no, you can keep the avatar. I'm fine with that. But just don't consciously think of Built. Like, do not waste your mental energy on a company that is not for you and not making you happy.
Yeah.
Josh's comment, Matt, I'm going to suggest you pull that one up because that's a big one.
Built scolded me via app notification for paying rent 1 cent over my authorized amount. I tried to enter the proper amount when authorizing, and Built kept lowering it by 1 cent. So right after Lonnie mentioned to me that attractions were gone, I went in. I saw that there was a chat feature with Built. Hey, we've got Tariq here, so we're just going to add him to the stage. So I added Built. I went in and was trying to send a message. I've been trying to send a message to Built's iMessage support team via chat all day, and it has failed to send all day.
Don't you know the best way to talk to Built is you have to complain on Reddit and then they'll DM you? That's the only way to deal with Built.
Reddit is not a CRM.
It is not.
Reddit is not a social media policy. Reddit is not a corporate communications policy. As long as that is the case, fire people.
You actually can't log in via email right now, either via a web browser.
Oh Lord.
Nice.
Come on, Built.
I really hope
third of the month
right now.
It's the third of the month. What is it? All the transfer bonuses and they just blow up. This is why they don't do transfer bonuses every month.
I don't know. Filmo mentioning his high number of cards. Sid M, I'd explore Wells, but I'm YOLO 24, and if I remember correctly, they are doing 524, right? They're doing something like it. They're not telling you straight up that it's 524, but yeah, they're essentially doing 524.
I mean,
so
the way I see it, the worst they can say is no.
Yeah, and if most of your inquiries have cleared after a year, maybe try it. I don't have good advice. I don't have great advice with Wells just because my active cash and my autograph are two of my oldest cards, and I got them long before I
Matt
jumped in
Clausen not having knowledge about Wells Fargo.
Well, I just don't know
Living in
their
the Twilight
current
Zone?
rules. I was
That's
324 when I applied for the tune.
that is one thing that I do wish credit card companies would be more transparent on. I will give a modicum of praise to Chase for having 524. Like, I think it's a stupid rule, but at least it's clear, right? And there are some people who can break it, but they are the exceptions. They are not the rule. Like,
Yeah.
you know where you stand with Chase. Whether you think it's smart or not is different. But like with Amex too, like, you know, you can have 4, 5, or 6 credit cards. You can have up to 10 charge cards. Like that.
Unless you're Sledge.
There are, again, unless you're Sledge, like there are some people who are exceptions to that. I'm sure if you're Bill Gates and wanted like your 7th credit card, you could also get it. Like there are, I'm sure, people with higher net worths. Like if you qualify for a Centurion, you can probably get any credit card you want. But
Don't you know who I am? I'm the guy who stole OS2.
I at least applaud the fact that those two companies do make it clear where you stand.
True. That is fair.
Like it, but I appreciate that at least it's clear.
Yeah. It's one of the few things to actually like give Chase props for. Barclays also has like a pretty clear 624 rule. Why 6 and not 5? I don't. Who knows? But
Barclays gonna Barclay.
I mean,
yeah, they
rules, but do we care?
Yeah, well, I don't. Everything's a custom cache. That would mean that I would want my no. You can keep your average charge. That's fine. They hate me. Reminds me of that old XFL player. He hate me. Paid hotel stay or flight. Are you using co-branded card or transferable currency, and why?
Hotel, co-brand, flight, platinum.
Hotel, probably co-brand. Well, hotel co-brand with said hotel.
Yes,
I think that was
implied
in the question. I think they mean co-brand with that particular hotel or airline.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Airline, typically, I book JetBlue. I have my JetBlue card on file. I'll probably start using my CSR more, but I will do co-branded card just to make sure. I'll generally do co-branded card to make sure that I get everything I'm supposed to get with the card when I make the purchase. Hotel with hotel. Airline, typically with airline. But if I don't have a hotel co-branded card, CSR.
Well, I would have paid if I had a United flight, I would have gladly paid it with an Explorer, but Chase decided to give me the middle finger. So,
oh man, yes. This is the first time I get to do this. Now that he's mentioned the United Explorer card,
drink. But here's the thing, Tariq, is like you painted yourself in that corner.
I didn't say it wasn't my fault.
I am not saying that Chase was right to deny you, but like it's like me. Like I was not like when Amex says no more, I'm like, okay, fair. Like I have let
anywhere else to go, for being honest.
I want an Aspire and they won't give it to me. They've locked me into 4 credit cards. I'm hoping when I close my business gold and my business platinum, because they don't technically have limits, but they do like count for underwriting purposes. I'm hoping after that point they'll give me a 5th credit card. That's my.
Didn't you have a Blue Cash? Did you get rid of that one already?
I have a Blue Cash. I have 2 Deltas, and I have the Surpass. And they've locked me at 4 because it's 4, 5, or 6 for credit cards.
So, I mean, do you use the Blue Cash enough to justify it? Or?
Blue Business Plus, not a Blue Cash. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I use the Blue Business Plus is my
That's fair. Yeah.
is my one of my catch-alls. I did go to Matt in a moment of weakness, and I'm like, I could close this in theory and then pick up the Aspire, and he slapped me on the back of the head. He like literally drove to my house, slapped me on the back of the head, and then drove back to wherever he's from.
Bit of a drive, and I'm sure you paid for tolls too. So that was probably an extra hard smack.
You could
No
get
tolls.
from him to me without tolls. It would be a longer drive, but you could do it.
Taconic exists. I'm down for a challenge.
Yeah.
We've got Spathco joining us. Spathco asking, which card will introduce the monthly Yard House credit
Jesus
to cater
Christ!
to
I went to Yard House one time at like 12:30 a.m. on a staycation because I wanted something on Mileage Plus 6. Give it a rest, man. Jeez.
I've got
Here's the
like
answer.
5,000 United miles because I had to use. Let me rephrase that. I chose to prepay for Apple and YouTube TV for several months to do some subs, so I didn't actually have to expend money that I wasn't already going to spend. I like buying gift cards through Mileage Plus X because I feel less dirty about it, and I feel like Amex is less likely to like slap me on the back of the head for using an app that like is an official app versus just like going to Amex and buying gift cards. Like I feel like they have a bigger problem with the second one. So I have like 5,000 United miles to do something with at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'll just give them to Tariq. Who knows?
That
There you
works.
go. Oh, and going back here, paid hotel, paid Hilton card, paid other hotels, transferable currency because I don't have any other hotel co-brand. All right. So, Spathco, to answer your question, the refresh of the Chase Sapphire Preferred.
I did see the new MSRs on them, so that's going to
$5,000 in 3 months. The refresh is coming.
I mean, that was like the United Business card before their refresh. I think it's still 5,000 in 3 months, but I remember that was like United Business MSR.
So here's a fun one. If I really wanted to be like just a masochist, I can transfer United miles to Marriott at 1-to-1 and then Marriott to Delta for 3-to-1. So I could, in theory, change my United miles to Delta at a 3-to-1 if I really wanted to be a masochist.
You'd get,
you
get 1,600.
But
Delta
I
Sky
could
mile.
use 1,500 Delta miles. I will probably never use 5,000 United miles.
I mean, I guess.
I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm saying I could, like, this would be a thought if I wanted to.
Reeks of
10
desperation.
charge cards sounds like a challenge. It is a challenge for some.
But I don't fly United. It's more expensive and I pay cash for most of my flights.
Look, I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, who are we to say what's right and what's wrong? That's one of the gripes we have about this community. I'm just saying, yikes. Transferring Marriott 3-to-1, but then again, I'm not using Marriott Bonvoy points anyway.
I have
Marriott Bonvoy
200,000
points
that will probably end up as Delta points at some point.
Yeah, they're predestined to be other points, maybe.
What you want to use your 200,000 Marriott points for like 2 nights at a Fairfield Inn?
No, because I could transfer them to Delta and then like get a flight for my parents to actually go stay at a Hilton. So, you know,
fair enough.
Helps.
Or a crazy person is using Marriott co-brand card at a Marriott. I mean, you only cap at like 20. What is the cap on that one? Forget Ambassador. Titanium, I want to say the max for Titanium point earning wise would be like 24 points per dollar.
I would have said my dad, but unfortunately that man paid a Marriott hotel with an Apple card. The physical card.
He made it to lifetime silver.
Because he's just stayed at Marriott's entire life. That man, I don't like if he ever had to stay at a non-Marriott, it's because he didn't book it.
Yeah, but the 6X Max plus the it gives you platinum, right? Automatically.
For the Brilliant, I think, right?
All Marriott cards, all Marriott annual fee cards have a 6X at Marriott. But you will get kickers for your status. So The Brilliant will give you the highest kicker. I think it's 18.5. It's either 18.5 or 21.5.
I think it's 21.5. I think the Ritz-Carlton was 18.5 with that one.
This all sounds right.
What is your least favorite ghost card, Matt? Now that we have hit the end of the chat, what is your least favorite ghost card?
Least favorite ghost card. I don't like that City still has both the dividend and the custom cash. Pick one. Like the dividends should have just been converted to custom caches. Like the dividends, one trick is, it's $6,000. You can spend your $6,000 all at once on one of the rotating categories, but you won't know the rotating categories until the quarter before. So you're always playing roulette with it, which I guess is like cool, and not, because like when it's Amazon and you know you're going to be putting a ton of money through Amazon, it makes a lot of sense to, like, you can go to 2,000, 3,000, whatever. It's just stupid. So that one. What are the U.S. Bank ghost cards? I don't remember what the Flex Perks
Altitude
Reserve did.
Yeah, but the Altitude Reserve is a ghost card.
Yeah, but I don't like, in terms of cards that like keep staying around for no reason. Like the dividend had a clear replacement. The dividend shouldn't continue to be supported the way that it is, because you have the custom cash. You pick the category in terms of your spend. You don't have to go in, you don't have to opt into anything. You just spend up to $500 and you get 5 times points on that $500 category. And they got to half the amount of spend and make you think that you're making real money, you're making real progress toward trips when you're not with one custom cash. That's why you need to get 3. I'm not saying get 3.
No, you're saying get 17. I understand. I heard the subtext there. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. No, I see what you've done there.
Ouch.
Thank you, Blueberry Make Real Cream.
That's what he's drinking, Drake. You were not here for that beginning of the episode.
That sounds interesting.
Tastes like a blueberry pancake.
I don't know if I would drink that. Screw it. I probably would.
Do you like blueberry pancakes with maple syrup?
Yes.
Then yes, you would drink this.
I just need to know if it's on Total Wine. And if it is, we know where we're going with this.
Stop supporting David Trump.
It's on Mileage Plus X.
Mileage Plus X, yes.
But David Trone.
I have a local, but I know there's local liquor stores in Texas, but they're not a Mileage Plus X. So Total Wine and more.
The original no annual fee saver card doesn't bother you. People grandfathered into getting 4X for free. No, I mean, that's on Capital One. Honestly, like, Capital One made choices, and Capital One will bucket you no matter what. So I don't know. Like, that was just funny because they took that card that had 4X and then they slapped a $95 annual fee on it and then just replaced the 4X with the 3X no annual fee card.
And now they're back to one saver, right? Like, there's only one you can get.
One saver.
One
with
saver.
No annual fee. That's just the 3X card.
So
Capital One.
When we were putting together some topics, there was one that I brought up that I do want to talk about. And now that Treek is here, we can talk about it. I am interested in how you guys feel about mobile wallet. Like, do you think right now the Altitude Reserve, the Apple Card to some extent, but the Altitude Reserve really is the only one with a strong mobile wallet category, right? Like, that is the sort of the prototypical one. Would you guys want to see it like and I know we don't all have platinums, but like added to a premium card at like, 1.5 to 2.5, would you want to see it as a standalone card? Like, how do you feel about mobile? Do you even care? Because like for me, I use a ton of mobile wallet when I leave the house, but I know not everybody does. What do you guys think? I'm interested in this conversation.
I would pay for a pack add-on to the Sapphire Reserve for like 2x mobile wallet. Like if they increase when they increase the annual fee on the Sapphire Reserve, if they included 2x mobile wallet on that card, like I wouldn't need any other Chase personal cards. I would just be fine with that, because then you're getting enough, like, then when you math it with the potential returns in the portal or via point transfer, you're going to make out better than 2%, but you'll still have that 2% floor. So I would love to see 2x mobile wallet on that. I want to see more cards embrace mobile wallet, because like then you can get rid of the physical card, right? And then I would love, like, once you get rid of the physical card, now you'll still need a physical token, honestly, because that would be, you're not always going to have, like, your phone's not always going to have battery. So I'd love to see it. I think mobile wallet could be a great differentiator for something like a Wells Fargo Beyond card, because like it needs something to pull people in. Because if it's going to become your only Wells Fargo card, because nobody wanted to touch Wells Fargo with a 15-foot pole or, a 50-foot pole, let's be honest, then you have that great thing to pull people in, and you'd only be redeeming at like 1 cent per point unless transferring out to transfer partners. So that would be huge for Wells Fargo. I think it's a great way to kind of differentiate. You could cap it if you wanted to, if you're worried about people abusing it. Something like the Smartly card, when it's juiced all the way to 4%, like in mobile wallet. Oh, it's technically a 4% mobile wallet card, but like that's just because the card is 4%. But mobile wallet as a category, I want to see more mobile wallet. I just don't necessarily want to see it capped if it doesn't have to be. But I do get, with transferable currencies, there may need to be a cap, just so that you can not overrun the bank.
A lot of cards have caps, right? Like a lot of cards have those caps on them for different categories. Amex has it on food, has it on a bunch of things. Kid, I entirely agree. If the Platinum had a 1.5 mobile wallet, I would give up. Like I would give up the Blue Business Plus, even though it's more, just for simplicity's sake. Like it would make my life easier. So I feel you there, buddy. Treek, what do you think?
Oh, so sorry. With my Blue Cash Preferred that I use for groceries right now, I don't keep it in my physical wallet. I just use the mobile wallet, because HEB finally transitioned to the 21st century and added the tap to pay on their card readers. Thank God. So yeah, I would love it if Chase had a mobile wallet category, but let's be honest, it's Chase. With our luck, it'll be a Freedom Flex category, 5x mobile wallet for 3 months out of the year, and that's gonna be it, because Chase is Chase.
Oh my God, I hate it.
I could see that. I could see that as a test balloon, though, because enough people have Freedom Flexes, they could actually get some data on it without it being something where they're just releasing a new card into the public, right? Like that actually would make a lot of sense for a year, not a year, but a category cycle, just to see how it's used. Like see if people use it really strongly the first like week or two, and then it peters out. Like it would actually be a really good data point.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, at least when I'm looking at Chase, the biggest hurdle I see is what card would they put the mobile wallet category on without it potentially messing up any other card? Because we know Chase is the king of overlap with their categories. But if, let's just say, you have the Sapphire Preferred or the Sapphire Reserves get a mobile wallet category, and it's like 1.5x mobile wallet, then you're probably taking applications and swipes away from the Freedom Unlimited.
But I could also see them making the Freedom Unlimited 1.5 mobile wallet instead of 1.5 everything. Like it would be a nerf, but it would also be a way that they could technically give you mobile wallet again as a data point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't love seeing that, but that could make a certain amount of sense. Spathco asks, would you use Pays if it was a bonus category? So Pays is an online wallet, an online checkout system available through certain retailers. Currently, it's set up with looks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, U.S. Bank, Truist, I believe. Chase also has Pays. Depends on the bonus size. Like, you're making me go out of my way to add something, whereas like mobile wallet's pretty ubiquitous at this point. There's enough people with a cell phone capable of mobile wallet, and like the barrier of entry of mobile wallet is adding the card to your mobile wallet and then remembering to use your mobile wallet. Whereas Pays is like putting your information into the system and remembering to use the system as a checkout option.
Would it be similar to just how we have a quarterly PayPal category?
Something like that, yeah. But if with Pays, I feel like if it was like, you'd have to make the bonus worthwhile to me. Like, I sort of know what Pays is. If it was 5x Pays, like 5x UR points for Pays, I would strongly consider it if there was enough infrastructure there. I don't know Pays' infrastructure in terms of like how much you can buy online with it. So without that being a compelling number, because it would be great. Like, it's great if it's like they could offer you 10x Pays, but if it's not on any website that you shop at with any sort of significance, then what's the point?
Their merchant directory is it's like Flowers, 1-800-Flowers, Fanatics, GNC, Omaha Steaks, Roku, Sephora, ShopRite. It is United, Whataburger.
As United.
But it's not like it does not have a lot of.
Take that, WWE annual fries. Whataburger, you can pay with Pays.
Yeah, there's not a ton, right? There's not enough where I think it would.
Yeah, right now you could have a 20x Pays category on a card, and given Pays' merchant directory that I just looked at, I would not. But if Pays became more ubiquitous, maybe. Like, part of it is just like the ease of use of mobile wallet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I do think there is something there. I would
absolutely use Pays. And yes, there is a Whataburger Texas bias there.
Right, but like, because it's a thing that you also would get, right? Like, you would use it because like there's something for you. Like, if there was Apple for me, like, yeah, I would use it if I had to buy something from Apple during that time. But if it was only Microsoft, like, that doesn't help me.
Yes.
Fair.
Filmo says, oh man, Filmo has never mobile walleted. That's fair. Spathco says, Discover has no mobile wallet for a quarter a couple times. I do wonder if U.S. banks stumbled their way into some kind of early adopter sweetheart contract for Apple Pay and Google Pay. Certainly plausible, because the U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve launched in like 2016 originally, I believe. So mobile wallet was still relatively new at that time. Like, mobile wallet introduced on the iPhone, I want to say in like 2014, 2015.
Man, I feel like I was so young, too young to.
You are but a mere child, Drake.
I was so young, I didn't get to experience the heyday of credit cards.
So that is not the heyday of credit cards.
No.
Apple Pay originally was October 20th of 2014.
Okay, so I would imagine that like U.S. Bank may have gotten some sort of sweetheart deal, Or like US Bank was saying, hey, we're designing a credit card. We would love to do something with mobile wallet. And they got in that way. But it's also a pretty established technology at this point. It's been 11 years. I'm surprised that more company like Discover only doing it, a couple of quarters here and there. And the Altitude Reserve and US Bank then using it with their Kroger branded cards is the extent of what we get from mobile wallet. Like, you'd have to collect Kroger cards like you collect custom caches or Pokemon, and I don't know that that's necessarily a good idea.
Why would you say
So
that? Someone's
here's a
gonna do that now.
question that sort of just popped up, right? The Apple Card is going to go to a different issuer.
Yep.
We just heard that American Express and Visa are apparently fighting over the card, which sounds like it's not going to be a MasterCard going forward. It currently is, right? Like, if it goes to, say, Amex, because of Apple being Apple, could you see Apple Pay becoming not just mobile wallet, right? And yes, I realize that, there are a lot of people Android, but there are, in the US at least, more people, I believe by the latest numbers, with some form of an iOS device versus Android. Could you see it being like, all right, we're going to give you 1.5 Apple Pay on this instead of just a broad mobile wallet header? Because I could see Amex making that deal, like, because it cuts down your potential people, right? Like, if you're only serving a certain number, and it might drive some people who have who don't really care about phones to get an iPhone for that. So it could, in theory, be plausible if like Amex got the Apple Card.
So if Amex got the Apple Card and they added Apple Pay as they add Apple Pay as a category on, let's say, the Platinum, right? It becomes 1.5x on the Platinum. That would be huge. There's a non-zero percentage number of people, like total US adult age people. There's a non-zero % number of people that would sign up for the Platinum, pay, let's just use the next annual fee number, which would probably be $849 or $895. Let's just go with $895, right? They would pay $895 just for 1.5x Apple Pay.
Because I just checked it, iPhone in November of 24, iPhone holds a market share of 56.63%. So they are above the 50% mark. So it's not like you're cutting off everybody, right? Like, it's not a niche thing. It's not 20% of the US has an iPhone, right? So it's a decent chunk. You're making a stronger relationship with Apple. Like, to me, I could almost see that tipping the needle for an Amex Apple deal if they could do something like that.
I've seen a bunch of the recent Amex TV ads and who they're marketing. It seems like who they're marketing towards. And yeah, I'd say those are the same people that would get iPhones over Android. So I think it would make sense.
Like, I don't know the percentage of people who have Amex cards with iPhones, which is probably the more important data than just the general population. But the people who don't care, the people who are still going to use their Platinum to buy dinner, right? Like, they're still getting 1X unless you're using Apple Pay to pay for dinner, right? But the people who have an iPhone, who use mobile wallet, get that kicker. And it is a percentage. So it's not going to, and you can put a 25, 50,000 cap on that. I don't think many people will bat too many eyes there.
Yeah.
And there is Apple Pay online as well.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Rodrigo asks, could mobile wallet make Visa or MasterCard obsolete? Visa, so Apple has taken a cut of every mobile pay transaction, regardless of Visa or MasterCard or American Express, since they introduced the system, since they introduced Apple Pay. Apple gets a cut of every transaction on top of the interchange fee that is assessed by the bank and the issuer. So I don't think it would make Visa or MasterCard obsolete. I think Visa or MasterCard, one of them is looking at pushing into like into an all mobile credit card, because they're looking at, next level like next step technologies. American Express is the only other issuer that could push for additional market positioning using, like, they could lean into mobile wallet and like become a bigger player and push their numbers higher if they did more mobile wallet. But it's a question of, do they want to do that? And I don't know that they do.
But they are going after younger millennials. Well, I shouldn't say younger, because millennials can be up to 40, but they're
Yeah.
going after millennials and Gen Zs, right? Like, so they're going after the people most likely to not actually physically want to carry cards anymore.
Mhm.
So tying it in their minds with, oh, I'm using Apple Pay, I'm going to use a Amex card or Chase card if Chase did it. Like, it makes sense for the demographic they're going for. And the people who want a physical platinum or want a physical gold or whatever card they put it on have the ability to just use their card. Like, I think that's the thing of an elevated mobile wallet, if you still have the 1x everything, is
Yep.
if you don't want to use that category, you're not actually getting much changed, except for potentially an annual fee increase. And like, if you're the person using your platinum for dining, you probably are not caring about what your annual fee is.
No. Like, the other thing that you could do if you go to an all mobile setup first would be something like, you could allow customization of your card, right? You could pick what sort of like what sort of metal you could have your card printed on, because then your annual fee is going to be more geared more toward like some level of concierge with it.
I think I think one of the things that could be interesting, we've talked about this on the show a couple of times for category or for topics, is more customizable cards, picking your multipliers, picking different things, right? And usually my counter argument to that is they want it tied to the physical card. Like, when you take out an Amex Gold card, everybody knows what that card is. They know what it does. And you're creating confusion and possibly muddiness by having that card do something different. But if all of our cards are on our phones and you're not physically taking a card out and you don't have that physical tie into it, it is easier for them to be like, okay, you can switch things because you have our little logo on there and it is a different color, or you can customize it in this way or that way. So I think that if it does go all digital, it is much easier for them to allow some amount of customization than like the legacy, gold, platinum, green, whatever.
Yep. So could mobile wallet make Visa or MasterCard obsolete? I think Visa and MasterCard are very much here to stay. But I do think that the physical card will be going away sometime in the next 10 to 15 years. What it's replaced with, I don't know. But
it's going to become a generational marker, right? Like, it's going to be people like our parents' generation and older who will still keep physical cards on them. And it's going to be, say, our generation and younger who just does not have a physical card anymore.
Yep. Spaceco asks, if Amex gets the Apple Card, does that doom us to Apple Arcade credits? Sir, this doesn't just doom you to Apple Arcade credits. This will doom you to Apple One credits if you so choose.
Okay, but I would like an Apple One credit. So
Apple One credit would be dope. I wouldn't even.
An Apple One credit would legitimately be great.
No, yes. You're going to get a separate iCloud credit, which
I don't think I don't think it's about laziness. I think it's just about convenient. Like, I always have my phone in a very accessible place. I don't always have my wallet in as an accessible place. Like, if it's in my bag versus in my, pocket where my phone is, like, it is much easier. It's also like easier from a perspective of as soon as I click it, it shows up. I know exactly how much I've been charged for it if I'm looking at my phone, right? Like, I can confirm that they charged me the correct amount right then and there. So
like, it's as easy as this. Oh, it's like
no,
it's like done. Like it's a matter of like a couple seconds if you're on your phone. So it is a lot more convenient than pulling out your wallet and maybe hoping that you even have the card on there. Because if you have the mobile wallet, you can just put all of the cards that you want to put on there. Depending on what wallet you have. Go ahead.
It also like does give you a different card number. So, and I'm talking specifically about the Apple one because that's the one I know. There is a digital card number and then there is the physical card number. So it does not necessarily tie you to that physical card. So if your Apple version of your card is compromised, they can just create a new card, a randomized new card number. You don't have to physically necessarily get a different card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see the Apple Pay card. There's the Apple Pay number and then the physical card number on the wallet when I'm looking at my phone. So
yeah, they spin up a whole new.
So
they spin up a whole new number. Like part of the issuing contacting your issuer when you add your card to your mobile wallet is like creating that new virtual number that you only see the last four of, and you don't know the number, so that there's zero trust anywhere.
Yeah.
Which helps. And why I like mobile wallet, because it's that extra level of security on top of, anyone can kind of brute force your card number, but especially because like the first 4 digits of your card signify what issuer your card is with. Then like the next 4, I think, signify what bank, something like that. Like,
yeah, like a MasterCard debit, MasterCard credit, something like that.
Yes. Wendover Productions has a breakdown of like what your credit card means, and they break it down. So like the first 4 digits signify what the issuer is. If your cards start with a 3, it's typically American Express. If it starts with a 4, it's typically Visa. And if you start with a 5, it's typically MasterCard.
So
Discover's, I don't remember.
First, Discover is a 6. First digit is the industry identifier. So like Matt was saying, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, or Discover. The first 6 to 8 digits is the bank. And this is the financial institution. The remaining is your actual account number, and your last digit is your check digit. So there's like a check, not like check as in write a check as in like check the system,
like
check mark
number, right?
So that is going to be consistent for banks, right? Like some of those numbers it's like the Social Security. If you're a certain age, like your Social Security used to actually identify the state, the county codes, like different things about you, and only the last 4 were randomized. The problem is Social Security numbers were never meant to actually be used the way we use Social Security numbers, and every time they've tried to make a system where you have an actual like American identification number, people have freaked out. So we keep using the Social Security number that is not at all made to be what we use the Social Security number for. So it is not great, but at least with the Apple and I'm assuming the Google Wallet does the same thing. Like it gives you that extra layer, and on the tab for it, it'll tell you what with the last 4 digits of the card that was used, so you can tell if it was the physical card or you can tell if it was the mobile. So you're like, oh, I used my physical card, it is a correct charge, because some things don't come up the way you would expect for the name of the company.
KitKat, any insight as to why Sam's Club and Walmart don't take mobile wallet control?
This one.
They don't get nearly enough of the pie, and because they don't get nearly enough of the pie, they're going to tell you to piss right off.
Not only that, I got 2 words for you. Walmart Pay. They have their own payment system where they can control all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was always great when I was working at Walmart. They're like, "Do you have Apple Pay?" "No, but we have Walmart Pay." And they make you, which means you have to download the Walmart app, so you get that foot traffic, and they can use their systems and their servers to see like what you're buying and market to you better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sam's Club card, not particularly compelling. Of the warehouse cards, the BJ's card is probably the best of the warehouse cards.
Yeah.
Sam's Club card, and then not only that, the Sam's Club card, in order to get the 5% on gas, you have to get their top tier $100 membership versus the standard $50. at least Costco, you can get the Costco Visa, like regardless of your membership tier.
I am nowhere near a Costco, and it makes me sad. But I am very close to a BJ's, and they are stocked very well. It still blows my mind walking in. There's like giant screen TVs right there next to like the toilet paper.
Yeah, and their top tier card, because they have 2 cards. Their top tier card is 5% at BJ's and basically 2% everywhere else.
Yeah. So like you could do a 1 card setup with that if you use
You
BJ's
only shop at BJ's.
if you are a kid and spend most of your money on food in bulk, then it might not be a bad setup for you.
Does Restaurant Depot have a credit card?
You said who?
Restaurant Depot?
Restaurant Depot? I don't think so. And if they do, it's probably a Cap One card or
probably.
What is it? Comenity?
Oh man, that would be sad. But like, at least Comenity will give you your money. So mobile wallet. Oh, okay, that was Filmo. I miss the old carbon copy paper swipey things. Oh, those were fun. You have to be able to certain age.
You mean the reason why they have embossed numbers?
Yes.
Ew.
So there's membership for Restaurant Depot. There is not, from what I can tell, a credit card, but they do have a membership.
They are a membership warehouse. My sister has a membership. That's why I was floating it. Because if they issued a credit card, I would have my sister get that so freaking quickly. The mobile wallet also has a dynamic 3-digit verification code for each transaction. The wallet card number can't be used without that calculated CVV. Okay. Again, mobile wallet is a superior technology to regular cards, because I lose my regular card, somebody could pick it up and use it before I cancel it. Now, I'll have no real recourse. I can just dispute the transactions. I can do the things that like I need to do to make credit cards superior to debit cards, because I lose my debit card if they brute force my password, because it's only 4 digits. There's a logical number of possibilities that it is. It's an insanely high number. It's not insanely high, but like there's a logical number of possibilities with a 4-digit card, which always surprised me, because I'm actually surprised that pins never went to 6 or 8 digits to
10,000. There is only 10,000 different combinations.
Yeah, 10,000 different combinations. Using like a quick algorithm, you can blitz through and get to a number in under an hour.
Maybe your pin shouldn't be 1, 2, 3, 4, Matt.
My pin is definitely not 1, 2, 3, 4, but my pin could probably be guessed in like an hour.
You're muted, Tariq.
Yeah.
My bad. 000 wasn't a great one either.
No. So yeah, I like mobile wallet for that extra level of security that you get, because it's not only like your card number, but your card number has been changed, and every transaction has a new CVV attached to it. Filmo says challenge accepted. To what exactly?
What challenge are you accepting? We would love to know, because I don't know if there is a challenge thrown. Oh, he's trying to guess your PIN number. I don't know if even if he gets it, you're going to say that he's correct.
Both of these are wrong.
We don't need this.
Again,
we don't
he won't tell you if you're right, so guessing is not going to be the most helpful.
I'll say this much right now. Well, okay, you could guess it, and if you guess right, that's great. But then you would have to obtain physical holding of my.
You would have to physically obtain Matt to be able to use the debit card, and that's kidnapping kids. And we don't kidnap on this podcast.
No. No, Matt.
I mean, Matt could be in a jail cell basement that we don't know about, that they're only letting him do this live, so we don't suspect anything. We don't technically know that.
So 9,998 to go. Well, okay, I was just going with a computer algorithm could probably figure it out in way less than an hour. Honestly, it could just give you all 10,000 possibilities in a printout.
Matt, blink twice if you need help.
No.
So
he's out of the next game.
He's easily influenced with Highlanders tickets. Oh,
so it has been a week, 2 weeks since the United card refresh.
Yeah.
Are you feeling better, worse, more annoyed, less annoyed? How are you feeling?
Eh. I mean, the two cards that I was looking at, I would still get the Explorer more than the Club. Mostly because even at 150, I could still use the Explorer for what it is. It's still a great card even at 150. I'm pretty sure I might have been on record saying that. If not, I'm on record now to say that I would still use that card at 150. The Club hurts a little bit more just because the fee is a little hefty, but it's still usable, justifiable, even if it's just a cheaper version of the Club membership, because the Club membership with an extra guest is $1,400. The Club card is go ahead.
So with the Explorer, you could just buy passes though, right? Like you
get 2 passes and then you buy the pass. I think they haven't changed the price. The only issue with the passes is in the event of Club Lounge overcrowding, they'll deny passes even with the Explorer.
So, but you could go see that there's not a line or see that they're not declining the passes and then just buy the passes then, right? Like you don't have to buy them beforehand.
I believe so. Yes.
I'm only asking because I'm a Delta flyer and I have the reserves and the platinum. So I can get into like 45 days of lounges. I am flush with lounges for a while.
So when you say days, so it's just like you can go to as many lounges like within 1 day, or
so if I'm flying, like say I'm flying from New York to Atlanta to Orlando or whatever, right? Like I'm doing multiple stops.
Yes.
That is 1 day. So I could go to LaGuardia, go to a lounge, go to Atlanta, go to a lounge, get off at Orlando, go do things. Right? Like, so that is only like, even though I'm going to 2 lounges, because it's on 1 flight, that is 1 day's worth of lounging. So that would be technically 1 pass, because I'm not like, they're not going to charge you per lounge if you're flying on a connection for a Delta flight. We didn't say you couldn't commit crime. We said we can't be implicated in said crime. There's a difference.
Yes. Now, that makes sense with Delta. And honestly, I like that better because United is just you pay for the specific pass. And it's like a one-time at the club use. So for me, if I were to go to Las Vegas via connection in Denver, I'd have to you had to use a club pass at home airport, then one at Denver, and then on the way back, Vegas, Houston, whatever. So that's potentially 4 passes that I'd have to use.
Why are you not flying AA? Like, I'm like, don't they have more direct from your airport than United does?
No. The only direct that AA has is.
Hold on.
I know they just got DCA because they were pushing for that like crazy, but
there is a website that I cannot think of right now that can show you all of the direct flights from your home airport.
FlySanAntonio.com does it for me. A lot of Southwest direct flights, but
let's see. What's your code for your airport?
SAT.
Wow, that is creative. Okay, let's see. Airlines. Let's go American. So you have quite a few, actually. You have Miami, Charlotte, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, Phoenix, and Los Angeles. So you can fly direct to Los Angeles on a.
That must not be updated because it's also DC. Did you say DC?
American.
Yeah, American. They implemented this recently with San Antonio to DCA.
And DC. I'm sorry, I was leaving out Philadelphia and DC because I wasn't looking at that side of the map.
Are you ever really leaving out Philadelphia?
I don't mean to. I actually like Philadelphia. I went. It was a beautiful city. Have I been twice? I've been twice to Philly.
Let me say, I love Philadelphia. I love the city of Philadelphia. Here's the problem with Philadelphia. Philadelphians and their sports proclivities.
You can fly Delta straight to Boston from San Antonio. Yeah. That's great. Also
Mostly,
JFK.
yeah, we're flying to hubs, baby. We're just flying. We're
I
flying to
mean,
hubs.
Okay, I'm a regional airport. I'm flying to one of 3 places before I go to my
Yeah.
final destination. There is not a Duke Pass Go. There is I am flying to LaGuardia, Atlanta, or Detroit. And
Mm.
on my trip to Florida, guess what? I'm flying to all 3
With the
because
exception
we're having
of
2 layovers
the
on each
exception of
flight.
my Southwest flights that are, some more not point to points. San Antonio International is a glorified regional airline because
It is a regional airport. It's fine.
we are a glorified regional airport. It says we're an international airport. The international location is Mexico.
Albany is considered an international airport because it can be a port of entry. All it has to do is be a port of entry. That's it.
It'd be really nice if you could do your global entry interview at Albany.
Dear God, would it? Instead of driving to Champlain.
You can't even do your global entry at Albany?
Mm-mm. No.
Damn. All right. Let me not say too much about San Antonio because I can at least do that.
Yeah, no.
Someone does mention that the problem with the United cards has always been their insistence on you flying United.
That is a problem.
That is a bit of a problem. I mean, it would be hilarious if you could, build up United points and then just move those United points over to, I don't know, Air Canada or any other Star Alliance member.
Yeah. I mean, Delta kind of wants you to fly Delta too, because you can't get in the lounge without a Delta ticket.
We would vastly prefer you fly Delta, sir.
I mean, America doesn't want you flying Spirit, but
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
And JetBlue is just like, wow, somebody's flying us today. That's nice. Thank you.
Oh my God, a customer. Where did we find you?
It's like Mrs. Lovett at the beginning of Worst Pies in London. A customer.
Mr. Clausen, you happen to be the only passenger on the flight today.
Would you like to fly the plane?
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Can I get an upgrade? No, sorry.
No, this is your upgrade. Cockpit.
I want my $10 snack box, then I'm only getting charged $5 for it. Thank you very much. RIP Condor flight. Uh-oh.
Yes, because that lasted only summer. We were so high. San Antonio had we had a direct to Frankfurt, I think it was. It was a nonstop international to Frankfurt, and then it just went away.
Yeah, well, one daily flight does put in perspective my airport because they have more than one flight. I can attest to that.
Filmo, which one are you flying out of? Because Syracuse has more than one flight. I worry. We'll leave the point accumulation to your point accumulation debate.
Oh, Binghamton. I'm sorry.
Bingo. Do they at least serve speedies while you're waiting for that one flight?
Here's the question, though. Is the Dunkin' Donuts on the side before security or after security? Because Albany, it's on the wrong side, and it hurts me every time.
Because you have to throw it out.
Right, because I have TSA pre-check, so I don't even have the line to wait in for security, and I can drink it while I'm in line, so I can't get it.
Yeah, I saw Kansas City had the same thing. It was on the other side. I was like, why is this here?
Give me that. They're also doing a major renovation right now, and it's painful. Machine only. I've been to Binghamton. None of this is a surprise.
I'm sorry, Filmo.
Oh God. I'm sorry. Hold on. Binghamton,
Plattsburgh, I think, is also technically an international airport, and that is very funny. Once daily, is it at least a 6 a.m. flight so you can connect places? I'm very invested in Binghamton Airport flying right now.
I just pulled up the website, and it literally just on the top just says "Book now, Delta."
I mean, at least it's Delta. They got that going for it.
Flies the CRJ 900.
Again, Bombardier is a great way to remind yourself that Canada hates you secretly.
I mean, okay, there's an S on flights on this website.
One's daily to Detroit, and nope, mid-afternoon and useless. Fun fact: the Binghamton Rumble Ponies alternate identity for a series this year, because that's what Minor League Baseball does. Their alternate identity is going to be the Spicy Meatballs. A follow up from Monday.
Mamma mia!
The Binghamton Spicy Meatballs.
I still love the San Antonio Missions alter ego. It's my favorite because it is so San Antonio.
Spathco, how dare you? Now that it's been the autograph free launch, what will be the next transfer partner added, and why is it Allegan? It won't be Allegan. Thank you very much. Ever since Craig said Allegan, I will only refer to it as Allegan.
It'll be Spirit.
Oh, God.
Free Spirit. Wells Fargo, 1 point to Free Spirit points. You're that much closer to your big front seat flight.
Honestly, okay, so real talk for a second. Of the low cost carriers, I could see them lining up with Frontier, because Frontier sort of has an idea of what they're doing.
Yeah, nobody wants to fly. I think
nobody wants to fly Frontier, but Frontier, of those three airlines that we just like joked about, Frontier, Spirit, and Allegan, Frontier has a clue.
I wonder if Frontier is going to try to become the next Southwest. Like with Southwest flaming out, are they going to try to be that like fourth, fifth airline that's not a legacy?
I mean,
because somebody's going to fill the bags fly free, like you don't like it with them, come to us side. Like somebody's going to try to fill it.
They do implement this point-to-point model like Southwest has done too, so it's there.
Yeah. They're trying some things. They do that Go Wild Pass, which has to bring in some revenue. I'm interested to see what they do. Breeze is another one that in that class that would be interesting. I would like to see, like, if Breeze can change their point system in a way that they can get it moving up. So right now Breeze points are worth 1 cent per point, so it's like, why bother? But if Breeze points could be worth 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, Wells getting Breeze wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be like the worst. But Wells also has to add like somebody else. Like Wells has to get JetBlue, and Wells has to get JetBlue sober, because when you negotiate with JetBlue drunk, you get 5-3.
I do wonder though, like I understand that like airlines are a thing that people care desperately about. I think it's more important that they get a major hotel than they get a major airline, because internationally they're fine, but people have already probably figured out what airline they want to fly. You know what I mean? Like most people are going to fly Southwest, American, Delta, United, or a budget airline that they already have like a connection to, right? Because they just want the cheapest flight. But I think if you don't have a good hotel partner, that puts you at so much more of a disadvantage than not having JetBlue or, Allegan or Spirit or whoever.
Yep. Keith mentions Stuart Newberg is basically empty, and I haven't been there in a long time. They've got Breeze, but they don't have Breeze to too many locations. They need to expand. Like Breeze needs to build out their footprint there. Who else flies out of Spirit? Norse used to. Iceland Air used to. Norwegian.
Why is it an international airport? Why are we giving all of these small airports international on them? Because it's just funny.
Because they can also accommodate the world's largest transport plane.
Yeah, it's still silly.
I'm not saying it's not. J. Rome chimes in. Believe it or not, I've gotten 2 to 3.5 cents per point on my last couple of Frontier flights.
Congratulations. That's fun.
That's awesome.
Nice.
If you're getting 2 to 3.5 cents per point, maybe they could join the mild domestic carrier transfer partnership to Wells Fargo.
So apparently New York Stewart flies direct to Dublin and Edinburgh.
By way of,
or at least they fly there. I don't know. I'm looking at the flight tracker, and this list of cities has Dublin and Edinburgh.
I'm looking at their website, and they have an airline. It's Play Airlines.
Oh, Play is a Their
Icelandic
European
low-cost
low-cost
airline.
carrier that can fly, that flies from Stewart. They do those international flights, like that weird, like you wouldn't fly to Charles de Gaulle, but you could fly to Orly in Paris, outside of Paris.
Yeah, so it's Reykjavik
They're Icelandic.
with Reykjavik, Iceland, with connections to Europe.
Okay. Yep. Play as Icelandic, like Sigur Rós and Bjork. Filmo says he wants to like Breeze. I want to like Breeze. I want to like Breeze's A220. I don't love their A220. I'll probably have to like sit in their front seat because their nicer product on the A220 was not better than JetBlue's A220. So
yeah.
We'll have to
Matt, should we, as we're wrapping up, because we're not going to go 3 hours tonight, guys. Sorry.
Sorry, double.
Sorry, double. Do you want to tease what we're doing next week? Well, special guest is in the chat.
Oh,
Sure. So next week we will have Tariq is going to sub out because Tariq doesn't care about Star Trek.
The amount of nerdiness is too high for his gym loving soul.
I'm too much of a meathead in comparison to y'all's love of Star Trek.
Hold on. Is there a huge demand for Newberg to Iceland? Yeah, man. If I'm flying to Iceland, I'm going out of Newberg. Well, okay. Let me be fair. If I was flying to Iceland, I would go out of Newberg because I'm not dealing with the goddamn wait at JFK.
Fair.
Yeah, I will fly out of SWF to do that. I would fly out of SWF to avoid most of the New York City airports. Anyway, we will have Josh Giebel from Josh Credit Cards and Travel. We are going to be doing a Star Trek draft where we are going to draft out our preferred crew members, captain, helmsman, operations, tactical, chief medical officer, first officer, and like a wild card position on the ship across all of the Star Trek universe. So this will be.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to correct you. It's not our preferred. We're doing it as a draft. So we might not get who we necessarily want to get, because there is the ability that if I want somebody and Matt wants somebody, depending on how we strategize this, we might not get who we want. So we're trying to get the strongest bridge crew or the quote best bridge crew. We might not get our preferred people.
Yeah. Filmo says, wait, the Josh Giebel? Yes. It's going to get nerdy next week. We will talk credit cards in some form or fashion, probably. Yeah. But we're going to do the Star Trek draft.
If you do, holla at me.
I will be back on YouTube for a minute. Yeah, I think the draft will last a little bit longer than a minute. And then, like, we could analyze each other's picks for a little bit. So, we'll see what happens. Then we'll go back to talking credit cards. Maybe, maybe the full CSR refresh will be out by then or something.
Yeah, but I'm very excited. There are 9 rounds. I spent at least 45 minutes going through the crew lists for each of the shows. I will admit that the list for Lower Decks is slightly screwy, but we all agreed to it. So as long as the 3 of us agree to the slightly screwy Lower Decks picks, we're going with it. So it'll be fun.
I may only want one Lower Decks character, but they're currently listed as a slot that I don't want them at, which is annoying. Filmo says Star Trek draft. I think I have a flight to Detroit that day. I mean, there's only so many slots you can draft Grand Moff Target in.
But that's yes, fair. I'm very excited. We're gonna nerd out. It'll be fun. We'll answer questions as we're doing it. So, like, if you do have a credit card question, we'll put your muffs on Josh so he doesn't have to answer any credit card questions, and he'll answer.
Maybe I should be there just to answer the question. Maybe I'll just be there, just sit quiet on the side while y'all nerd out, and I'll answer the occasional credit card question.
Why does Janeway secretly only use a 1.5% cashback everywhere card?
I feel like Janeway is no, she has somebody to do that for her. Chakotay just carries her wallet around for her. The worst first officer. I'm sorry. Just terrible.
I
Who?
will.
Go ahead reading it. I was reading it.
So Josh says he will entertain some credit card speak. There we go. I may be on hiatus, but I'll catch up. All right, cool. No worries. Things have happened in United World. Things are happening in Chase World. That's all I can tell you right now.
Hey, Josh, I'll just say this. If DCA is closer, you might want to consider American.
Yeah. Perhaps United should not keep crashing planes. I mean, all of them keep crashing planes right now because, reasons.
Those reasons being you don't need ATCs. We didn't learn our lesson 40 years ago, and we're sure as heck going to not learn it now. I saw the United changes. Lovely. Yeah.
Oh, why do I
hit Sapphire preferred
sarcasm?
What?
I said, why do I feel such a drop of sarcasm?
I think he knows that Dulles is going to be an irrelevant airport for him going unless he's flying internationally.
That is, of course, if you're allowed to fly internationally out of DC anytime soon.
That's a good point.
It's more the coming back that might also be a problem.
Oh, no, they may not just let us depart.
No. You want to fly where? No, not that chance.
Maybe the restrictions on departures aren't coming from where you're looking to go.
Yeah.
I've had way too much maple cream this evening. But anyway. Josh, which airline has the best middle seat? Oh, that is harsh. That is harsh, Keith.
Southwest Seaboarding.
Ooh.
It's the one in the corner next to Shriek.
Southwest Seaboarding.
Well played. Well played. Josh is even catching strays. Before he's back on the internet, he's just catching strays. Come on, guys. He's been through enough. All right. We are 2 hours in. We are answer Delta. There we go. We're 2 hours in. I think we're going to call it here. We have the Star Trek draft with Josh Giebel next week on the live, 8:30 on Thursday. We may or may not get Tariq in after the draft. We'll let him know when the draft is over. Maybe he's available. Maybe he's booking things through Mileage Plus X, or maybe he's actually booking United flights. Who knows?
I have 65,000 miles. Who knows? Anything's possible.
Ooh. Yeah, so we will definitely catch you next week, both with Stack Your Points dropping next Wednesday, the main episode there. We have tomorrow dropping the Q&A.
I fixed it, so there will be a Q&A tomorrow.
There will be a Q&A. You heard it here first. We have the full episode dropping on Saturday on the podcatcher of your choice. We appreciate you guys, everyone who has hung out. We got up to about 24, 25 people tonight on the live. I saw, thank you so much for everyone who has watched. Thank you, everyone who is a member of the Discord. Thank you, everyone who participates in the... Oh, Josh, which airline has the worst middle seat in the back row? Thank you, everyone who supports on the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, check out the descriptions of all of our videos here on YouTube. And any final thoughts, guys?
Q&A is fun tomorrow. Count the book references that you will very quickly figure out what book we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, and my strays.
Oh, and my favorite transition that I've ever done on the podcast is on tomorrow's episode of the podcast, and I'm very proud of it. It's silly, but I am very proud of it.
I'm definitely looking forward to that first thing in the morning. And I don't mean that sarcastically. It was really well done the way we did, and I'm sure RJ edited it even better. So there we go. Josh, by the way, answers that question with probably Ryanair. Well, yeah, that's because Ryanair would rather you not sit on a plane. Like, they're actively trying to push you out of the plane at 30,000 feet. Anyway,
Ryanair is what people think Spirit actually. Ryanair is what people think Spirit is.
Yes. Yes, it is. All right. Well, that'll do it for this live, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for everyone who commented. We will talk to you next week. Bye for now. End stream.